What's up, guys? Want to get on here and introduce myself to you guys. Let me quick get on the highway here before we cause an accident. Alright, what's up, guys? Figured, before I keep doing videos with other people, I should kind of introduce myself to, the people that don't know me. My name is Austin. I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. I still live in Reading, Pennsylvania. Well, actually not Reading, Pennsylvania, like in the city, on the outskirts. 26 years old. I drive truck currently for Lenita Specialized out of Mount Etna. I grew up around trucks. I think the biggest influence for me getting into trucks was my dad, my uncle, and my cousin Vince. They were always, buying new trucks or hanging out and working on trucks, taking trucks to truck shows, doing a little bit of trucking with them, never like full-time really. My grandparents owned an auction business that, furniture had to be picked up, brought there to get sold, sometimes deliveries, sometimes moving jobs from one house to another. So they had trucks, whether it was a pickup truck with a gooseneck trailer or an older Peterbilt, Freightliner, Kenworth. They would move furniture. Honestly, sometimes it's just to have the trucks to the truck show. So just being around that, really, what boy doesn't like being around trucks? And I think growing up next to them doesn't want to drive a truck one day. Kudos to the people that don't. You might be saving yourself a headache at times. My history with driving trucks. Now let's go. Hold on. Let's start the car wash. Right? First job was at a car wash. I worked at a car wash for 6-7 years, from 16 years old all the way up to 20 years old. So, got my CDL out of school, went through my buddy and his dad. It was really cool. I did fail one time, shifted through an intersection, so it probably wasn't the best idea, right? But after I got my CDL, I was like, all right, it's time. I gotta use this thing. So I was always reaching out to different people, like, hey, you guys hiring? Hey, can you help me get a job? Because I didn't want to go in a boring truck. I thought, well, I've been around cool trucks my whole life. Let's go ahead and be in a cool truck, right? Well, I learned quickly, you kind of got to start somewhere, right? So I got impatient. I was like, I need to get behind the wheels. I gotta behind the wheel of a big truck. Like I need to do it. So there's a local dairy near us called Clover Farms. So I applied there. It was union. Everything sounded amazing. I'm like, oh heck yeah, let's go do this. Yeah, this will work. Get my experience, and then I'll be in a cool truck one day. So I think I lasted a month there at Clover Farms. I did local deliveries until I turned 21. So it was like right before my 21st birthday. So week before it, I did local runs. I turned 21. They started sending me to New Jersey, Delaware. That was about it, and then PA stops. And I delivered milk, ICT, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't for me. I was driving a straight truck. I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just wasn't for me. So lasted a month. There I was back at the car wash. They open arms. They left me back in. Car wash is always going to hold a special place in my heart, and people are going to know that. So went back to the car wash, worked there for a couple months, and I seen someone shared a posting about this company out of Ephrata, PA, RM Kurtz. So I started there, I interviewed, it was awesome. Like I was driving, I think, some of the coolest trucks, on the road, even to this day right now. I drove a purple Peterbilt, delivered reefer in New York, Wisconsin, kind of anywhere. Texas, we did Florida. I did a lot of Florida personally. So did that, delivered some tanker. Purple Peterbilt was sweet. Some of you guys know what happened to that. We don't got to talk about that. So I get out of the purple Peterbilt. I go in this red LTL 9000. I'm like, yo, this is it. Now, this is it. I'm driving this thing. It's probably one of the coolest trucks, to this day that I have driven. That truck is just old school cool, is I guess what all the cool guys say, right? Drove that, delivered that, and then was doing reefer and tanker, which was awesome. And I wanted to do something new. My buddy Jake, my buddy Dustin, A couple other buddies were doing flatbed step deck work, and I'm like, man, I want to haul some of that stuff. Like, I want to learn that. So here I am. I apply at Lindita Specialized. I start working there. Still here to this day, learning how to do open freight. Or flatbed freight, whatever you want to call it. So I learned how to tarp, learned how to secure loads, and I've been there ever since. Here I am now with a Conestoga. Got a little old. I can't be tarping no more. Joking. I will still tarp, but yeah, it's not fun. So that's a little bit about my job history. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of ums in this video because I really didn't plan it out. I wish I would have planned it out. Even if I did plan it out better, I truly just think I throw the ums in there. Anywho, it's a little better. So I've always wanted to do social media. Always talk about it, always tried it. Never really tried this YouTube aspect of things. I tried streaming video games, which that's what I love. I love playing video games, but everybody tries to play video games. Everybody tries YouTube. So I'm thinking, what can I do to set myself apart from others? Well, I don't know. Maybe my personality, maybe myself. I have no clue. The friends around me are going to support me on this. They're going to give me suggestions. Even if you're not my friend, you just know me, or you just started watching this channel off the shorts I posted. Give me suggestions. I think my vision with the channel is that I want to interview guys in the industry. I want to interview the owner-operators, the company drivers, the guys who do the custom fab work on these trucks. I did the video with Jimmy. It's only 2.5 minutes, but you got a little bit about Jimmy that a lot of people probably don't know about him. I'd like to do more with him. I had the honor of doing the interview with Joe Esposito, also known as Joe Gotti. So that was awesome. I'm still learning with the mic stuff, the camera settings, the editing. But I don't know where I'm going to keep going with videos. Next video I think I will be doing, maybe not the next, but here in the near future, with Joe Gotti's truck, the guy who built his motor, Manny. I'm going to go ahead, when they go to dyno that truck, I'm going to ride along with those guys, get some shots of them dynoing the truck, talk to Manny. He just built that motor. We want to know about it, the internals, what they did, whatever he wants to share to us. I'm ready to learn about it, because I personally don't know anything about motors. I know Cat, Cummins, and Detroit, some other ones, whatever. I don't know the whole A-Cert, 5EK, all that stuff. Maybe, I'll learn from that, just interviewing Manny. Shoot. Yeah, let me know, though, you guys, if you want to be in a video, have suggestions, we'll go from there. Like I said, I had to cut the video there a little bit. I didn't know what to say. I kind of shocked myself a little bit and was like, oh, what do I do? Anyway, we're back. I want to thank all my friends, Jimmy, Joe, all of his buddies that were in the first video, for, trying it with me. None of us knew what we were doing. It's unorganized chaos at the moment, just like this video is now. I'm going to try to plan it better. I want to do better. Like I said, I've talked about doing this social media stuff for so long, and all my buddies were like, just do it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and all right, we're gonna do it, and I expect these guys to be right there with me, help me with this content, just brainstorming different ideas. What can I do to set myself apart from the others? And I'm not saying I want to be better than anyone, but how do I set myself up to be successful in my own way? I don't want to copy what people do. I want to be unique with my content. There's definitely going to be videos that are similar to others, because definitely I'm going to run out of content, but my goal with this is not to stomp on anyone's toes. I'm just pretty much chasing a dream that I've always wanted to do, and this is it. I'm gonna do it. I appreciate you guys that stop in and watch the videos. Even if you don't watch the whole thing, you skip through it, you're still giving me a view. Give me a like if you have a YouTube account. Subscribe if you're intrigued with what I'm posting. But like I said, in the comments, DM me, call me, whatever. Stop me at a truck stop, and if I don't know you, and let's record something. We're all different. We all have our own journey, to trucking, how we got here, and what our future plans are. So please just stop me, talk to me, do whatever, and we'll do it. We're all in this together. So I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to posting this one. Any other questions about me, just ask. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one, guys.